meant to do this earlier. So I'm going to go through this one more time, just in case. So if you have a CD or a thumb drive and you want to transfer that information to your Google Drive folder, you'll open up your folder, and then once you're in your folder, it'll probably look like this.
Mm-hmm.
So you'll open up your thumb drive again, pull that document over, let go. You'll see it upload right there. So now it tells me on the bottom I had 2 uploads into my Google Drive folder. Okay.
Okay.
So I'm going to remove that because I already sent this one to my assistant there. We'll leave it on this one. So yeah, that's working. Google Drive. I know sometimes people get issues because the Google Drive link that I send you is different than your My Drive. So if you just type it into your web page, your web browser up here.
Mm-hmm.
So if you just type it up here and it just pops up, this is probably where it's going to default to. So you see how that's highlighted?
Yes.
So that's my drive. So if you're on your drive, I can't see that one. So you want to click the link for the Google Drive folder that I sent you before. And that's where a lot of people get confused because they're like, wait a second.
I think that's what I'm confused about is I forgot where that drive is even at. So
yeah, and you know what? Let me write it down and I'll send you that link. Hold on a second. Just so I don't forget. I'll send you that link right when we get off this call, okay?
yeah, I was, I don't know if you remember, but I told you I had when I was in the assisted living care, someone came into my house and they stole my computer. So
Yep.
I'm
I
going
do remember
between
that.
different computers. Yeah, I'm still trying to get all that resolved. I'm going between different computers. So, yeah. And
Okay.
most of what I'm doing now is on a freaking cell phone. So.
Yeah, so it's a little harder on the cell phone. It looks a little different. So there's, like I said, there's no rush though. No rush at all. I'm here for the long haul. Okay. I'm glad it sounds like you're doing better because I know when we talked that first time, that was a hard time for you as well. So I'm just happy for you, Thomas, that you're doing better, that you get to be here with us, and we can keep you going forward.
Yeah, well, I need to go forward. This $427 a month isn't cutting it. To be
Yeah, for sure. So once we get that mental health assessment done, we get that claim in, we'll get you a pretty hefty increase, and I think that'll make everything a little easier, a little better for you. So.
All right, sir.
Yep. All right. With that being said, are there any other questions out there? We have a couple more folks in the room, so feel free if you got questions right now. This is a great time to ask them. So don't hesitate. Okay, if we don't have specific questions at the moment, what I'm going to do is I'll pull up some other things we can go through. We can talk about some things here. Let's see. We talked about that one before. And yes, sir, you have a question, Joe? How you doing today?
Hello, I'm doing well. How about yourself?
I'm doing fantastic.
Hey, good. It's a little off the subject, but I was just, I was able to check yesterday, because I went ahead and filed my claim after you got everything ready for me. I submitted it, and it does show up on my e-benefits already. So everything's good in there. Of course, it's just a wait now for that.
Yeah.
I know for sure they'll be contacting me about a CMP exam for the PTSD increase, but will I have one for sleep apnea as well?
Yeah, that's a good question. In case you didn't hear, he's asking, we submitted his claim, increase in his existing PTSD, and then sleep apnea also as a secondary. So they usually do a CMP exam for sleep apnea, which probably doesn't make sense because you're not going to go in there and take a nap, right? Sometimes it doesn't make a lot of sense. But yeah, you'll go in there. I think there's a couple reasons why they do it. They seem to like to do face-to-face exams for sleep apnea because, sadly, what the VA will try to do oftentimes is take away service connection for sleep apnea because of weight gain. Okay? So if you looked at your Nexus letter, the med team would have written on there that your sleep apnea is likely secondarily connected to your PTSD, but also your orthopedic conditions that you deal with, because having those orthopedic conditions, those can prevent you from working out because of back pain. Tom's talking about his hernia, that kind of pain. That'll prevent you from working out, which can lead to weight gain, which really then means your sleep apnea is connected to weight gain, which is connected to not being able to work out as well. So the Nexus letters that our med team provides, we typically do our best to mention both the PTSD connection and the weight gain connection. So that's why I think they do that face-to-face CMP exam for sleep apnea. So like I tell everybody, go into that exam, bring your DBQ, bring your Nexus letters, and then just be polite, professional, and just talk through that. And usually those go pretty well. So.
Okay. Yeah, because I noticed that on my DBQ it does mention weight gain. Due to my knee, my left knee, because I have a percentage from my left knee, and which was it struck me as I guess not funny, but I filed that claim in '93 and got denied, all because I didn't send. I filed it again in 2018, got denied again. Then in 2019, I was told, "Hey, did you include a copy of your medical records?" I said, "I didn't think I needed to because they're my medical records that the VA has access to." They said, "No, if you don't provide it, they're probably not going to look for it." So I provided a copy, and I was awarded. They awarded me, service connection, but that came from all the way from '93 when I got out.
Yeah.
But and had I done this years ago, I've learned so much in this last month just working with y'all, and I'm able to help my other comrades around that have questions, and I always tell them, just give that number a call. Give them a call. They'll set you up. You can speak with somebody, and they're the ones that can help you. They're going to show you. I said, yeah, it's an investment, but aren't you worth a little investment, out of your own, on your part,
Yeah.
You're going to gain a lot in the long run,
Yeah, absolutely. And, like the mental health assessment, that's what, $395. But if you do the math, if you go from 0 or to 50, or if you're at 30 and you get another 70% and it takes you to 60 or 70 overall, you're talking, $1,500 a month for life for a one-time $400 investment. So, we got to pay these men and women that help us, that help our clients, our vets like you guys. We got to pay them for their time. That's just good business practice. So if we compensate them for fair market value, we're going to get the good documents, the supporting evidence we need to go up and get your guys' increases, because that's what you're looking for, something to help take a little bit of that burden off. And sometimes it's not just the money, it's the principle, because, we get hurt in service and we spend a lot of time, going up and filing things with the VA, and we kind of start feeling like, it's kind of pointless. This totally sucks. I'm in pain. They're not acknowledging it. So when you get that compensation, it's kind of like that reassurance that, okay, yes, I got hurt. They're finally recognizing it. I feel a little bit better now, right? It's about the principle thing.
Definitely. My pride stood in my way for the longest. It took 23 years before I finally decided, I'm gonna swallow my pride, and I'm gonna go after the VA for what I rightfully deserve. And at that point, I hired an attorney, and I not knocking into attorneys, but it seemed like I paid a lot of money, not out of my pocket, not it wasn't a upfront cost, but it was quite a bit of money. And when they got to that, they got me to the 50% mark. They were like, okay, you're done. There's nothing else we can do. I'm like, no, there's got to be more. There's more issues. I just didn't know how to do it. But they were like, well, we can try. But they didn't want it. They weren't concerned anymore because they got a almost a $10,000 check out of what I received. So
So they got what
they made a little bit
they
of money.
needed, and they moved on.
Yeah, they got what they needed, and they weren't interested in helping me anymore. And when I got my when I spoke back and forth with, I believe it's Leah,
Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah.
she sent me everything that I could actually file, in a quote, and I was surprised. I was like, wow, that is a lot of stuff that I've never even heard of, but it makes sense when I read it. I'm like, yeah, I have that issue, and it could be connected to this, or yeah, I have this issue, but at the time, I just chose to go with the sleep apnea and the increase in PTSD, because I'm pretty sure that's going to put me at the 100% P&T mark.
Yeah, that'll hopefully get you where you want to go. And then we'll, if worst case scenario, if not, you and I, we circle back around, we get on another strategy call, we look at the options we have, and we hit it again. So I'm always in this, and I tell everybody this, I'm in this for the long haul. There's a lot at stake for all you guys, okay? So I love what I do, and sometimes, everybody's journey in this process is a little different. So I always ask people, just be open-minded about it. Sometimes we get people through in a month, and they get to where they want. Sometimes it takes us 4 months, okay?
Yeah.
I can't do anything about that, but I'll always keep going with you as long as you want to lean into it and press forward, okay?
Yeah. Right now, once we submitted that claim, I understood, I understand, and I hope the rest of the guys understand, once it's in the VA's hands, it's on their time. We can't do anything to rush it. We can't do anything to speed it up. We got to wait till one of them work it and make a decision, or give you your CMP exam. But the way I see it is, it's just back pay for me. The longer it takes, they've got back pay me, because I filed my attempt back in July. So.
Oh yeah, you'll be good. You'll be good then.
Yeah.
So guys, Joe's gonna die in the first round this Christmas, okay? Just throwing out. Just kidding. All right, guys. I got a few minutes left. If y'all are good, I'm gonna cover one thing, and then literally I got about 3-4 minutes, and I'll hop on another client call. I got a lot going on today with people. So I want to talk about this one here, and I'll screen share it with you. And this one. Okay. Move this over. All right, here we go. Let's talk about Nexus letters, okay? You guys are, some of y'all are invested in this. Some of you have said we should invest in it. I'm recommending it. But a Nexus letter, okay? Nexus letter establishes service connection for the disability you're applying for. The only time you need a Nexus letter is if it's not in your military medical records, and it's been probably more than a year from service. If you just got out and you're filing the claim, it's in your records, and it's only been a few months, you might not need and I say might not need the Nexus letter. But if it's been more than a year, you don't have it in your military med records, we have to have a Nexus letter, a Nexus statement. So I get this question a lot too. Hey, I did the mental health assessment. I have the DBQ back, the disability questionnaire. Where's my Nexus letter? Well, the DBQ for your mental health is a little different. The DBQ is an actual diagnosis by a doctor. Because the doctor reviews your medical records, they write a Nexus statement in your DBQ. It's usually toward the bottom of the DBQ, toward the end of the DBQ, just a couple sentences. But because the doctor's doing a full diagnosis, they're reviewing all the records you provide them. That's why they only need a nexus statement. Now, when the medical team is working with you, like Joe here in his case, doing sleep apnea as a secondary, well, they do a DBQ, a disability questionnaire, that states what the issue is, and it basically explains in the DBQ what the compensation should be, if that makes sense. So for sleep apnea, if you have accepted a CPAP machine and your sleep apnea is approved, it's always 50%. If you don't take the sleep apnea machine, the CPAP machine, it's only going to be 30%. Now, he has the DBQ, but we needed to prove to the VA, we needed to tell the VA why it's service connected. To do that, a medical professional has to write a nexus letter. So that's what Joe picked up in his. So he has a DBQ and a nexus letter, and that nexus letter states why his sleep apnea is connected to his service connected PTSD. Okay. Let's see here. So these are the things that we have to have, okay? Some event in service that would have caused the disease or condition or disability, a diagnosis, you've heard me talk about that, and then the medical opinion in the nexus letter that links those two together, all right? Self-diagnosis doesn't work. And I had a lot of frustration, especially when it comes to musculoskeletal. Guys are like, listen, my back, I'm at 20% from my back. My left knee's having problems. Now my right knee's having problems. I think they're connected, and they probably are. But we have to do a nexus letter that states that. A medical professional has to review your records, your diagnosis, so they can write that statement. And this one here, the medical opinion that links, your lumbar to your knees maybe, or your lumbar condition to your plantar fasciitis, or your plantar fasciitis to your lumbar condition, right? Because once you start to stand all funky because you're compensating for pain, you kind of overcompensate on other joints, and that's what leads to other secondaries, okay? So a nexus letter really is just a medical opinion letter. Okay, it has to be written specifically for you. It can't be a generalized thing for a group of guys. It has to be for one veteran. And it's always expressed in the degree of likelihood. So we'll cover these phrases, and then I'll have to wrap it up and get on this call. So these are the phrases. And you might have seen these if you've ever got a denial letter from the VA. Not likely, at least as likely as not, more than likely, and highly likely. So a lot of times you'll go to a C&P exam if you didn't have evidence to support it, and then you'll see something like not likely, or the C&P examiner opinioned that it was less than 50% likely that the event was caused in service, and then they take away service connection. So your nexus letter, you want to say at least as likely as not, at a minimum. That says there's a 51% chance it's connected. And then more than likely, highly likely, those are even better, but there are specific conditions for that. And we'll cover this one. In the case of at least as likely as not, that means you have received the benefit of a doubt and the outcome's considered favorable. Okay, they don't need to use absolutes or conclusions. That's very difficult to say that it's absolutely because of your back that your knees are giving you problems. Okay, that's very difficult to do that. And sometimes people ask doctors to write nexus letters for them, and they write nexus letters with that verbiage, and the VA always looks at that a little differently, a little more skeptical. Okay. So brief as possible. Okay, doesn't have to have everything from start to finish. It needs to be factual, not emotional. These are some big ones here. This is what you see when you go through a mental health assessment. If I've talked to you about the mental health assessment, I won't even get you the link for it until I have medical records, right? It's just going to be a waste of your time, because if the VA ever looks at a nexus letter or a DBQ and they don't see that in there, that they reviewed your records, automatically for the most part, they're going to deny your claim. Okay. It is my professional opinion. All right. When the doctor says it happened because of this, that tells the VA that's kind of a weird way to say it. That's not what they're used to. They like to hear that it's my opinion. And then again, the degree of it, at least as likely as not, or highly likely. Okay. Then whoever writes that, the medical professional that writes it, has to offer scientific rationale, not opinion, but just here, for example, sleep apnea, secondarily connected to PTSD. And if you were to read his Nexus letter, they would mention about 3 different medical journals where they studied veterans with PTSD and saw about an 85% increase of, or 85% of those veterans are also diagnosed with sleep apnea, right? So there's got to be the rationale. Credentials, that's the last one. I haven't heard of the VA doing this, but if they don't have credentials, the VA will always throw the letter out. They won't even consider it. But credentials on there, their board number as a doctor, you know, what their experience is, how many years they've been at it. You know, if they're fresh out of med school, probably not the best Nexus letter for you, okay? Maybe find a doctor that's been at it a little longer than that. Titles help as well, and specialties, okay? If you want a copy of this document, I'll be more than happy to send it to you. I know we went over this pretty quickly, and I'm a little late on my next call, so I do got to wrap this up, okay? But if you want a copy of this, just send me an email, and I'll let you know. Or excuse me, I'll give you a copy. And then Thomas, I owe you the link to your Google Drive folder. I'll get that resent out here momentarily, gentlemen. But for now, I'm going to let you go. Y'all have a good weekend. I'll be back at this Monday morning, 6 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. Feel free to hop on, say hi if you got questions. But if I don't see you or hear from you between now and then, have yourself a great weekend. Okay, everybody? All right, guys. Thank you much. Take care.